Welcome back. In our last video, we covered what programming is and why TypeScript is an awesome language to learn, and a bit about what we'll cover in this series. If you missed it, check it out and get up to speed. Today, we're going to dive into setting up our development environment so we are ready to start programming in TypeScript. All right, in my browser, you will see Node.js. Don't worry if you're not familiar with Node.js, we'll just need it to run our TypeScript code. So you open up the browser and you go to nodejs.org. Then you click on the download button, and then eventually you should see the installer that I have here. So just run through the installer, continue, agree. Don't change the install location except if you know what you are doing. I'm not going to complete this step, but it will just install it for you and then it'll be done. You can close it and you're done. I already have it installed, but this is all you need to do. So don't change this location unless you know what you are doing. Second, if you have done that, so this is like focused on Mac and Linux systems. For Windows, I'll be sure to include a install link in the description. If you have any questions, just be sure to leave them in the comments and I'll be sure to help you out. So now that we have done that, what we need to do is check if the install went right. So what we do to check if it's actually installed is type node-v, node minus version or dash version or whatever. This shows the node version that you're on, and it shows that it has actually installed it. If you don't get this output, if you get an error like node could not be found or whatever, or command node not found, you have not done the install correctly, and reinstall it or drop a comment so I can help you out. What you also get is npm. npm is the node package manager. It is used to use other people's code into your project with a package.json file. It is just necessary to check. If you have it, we're not going to use it right now. Just type this command with the same -v minus version just to see if we have it installed and if it works. All right. So for me, it works. I'm all good. So we go on to the next step. The next step is actually installing TypeScript. We need to install that. Now, we won't be using other people's codes or package.json file, but what we do need is to use the node package manager. Actually, we are using other people's code. TypeScript is other people's code. So we type npm install. So I'm saying to npm, run the install command -g. -g means global. So globally, we are going to install TypeScript. So I have a global version of that. We run it, does all that. It says change one package, or for you, it might say installed it. And what we then might do is check if it is actually correctly installed. Do the same thing. The command that we need to run TypeScript is TypeScript compile tsc -v for version, and we have a version. Great. All right. So the next thing that we are going to do is actually install an IDE. I prefer to use IntelliJ, but Visual Studio is actually one of the things that is free and really great to use. So for everyone, I just would recommend installing Visual Studio. I'm installing it for macOS. If you're for Windows, of course, the Windows install, but the website takes care of that automatically. Here we have, and I've already prepared a couple of other lessons in here that we're not going to cover. So here we have Visual Studio Code. No, I do not want this. We have it installed. And after that, after it launches, we can now program in an IDE that helps us. So first of all, you also need to make sure that you have the TypeScript extension installed. So you go to code or Visual Studio Code, settings, extensions, and then you type TypeScript. I already have it installed, so it shows it first, like what is installed. TypeScript, you click on that one, you click install, and it will be installed. Then check if it's up to date, if you need to do any updates or whatever. Then when we're done, we can do file, open folder, and we can make a new tutorial, tutorial 2. Well, let's go. We make a new folder, call it whatever you want. I call it tutorial too. And of course, I trust myself. I'm a trusted author. Then you press the new file and you're going to name it index.ts. Very important that you name it .ts, which means TypeScript, a TypeScript file. So now we have created our first TypeScript file. Now we're not there yet. We're not there to run some code yet. So let's do it. So what we're going to type is, we're going to type something very simple and we're going to log it. So we're going to go through this code a bit because this is all new for you. What we have done, and I need to save it, very important to save it or turn auto save on. What we have done here is we have created a variable const. There are two, but we'll get to that later. We have named it greeting, and we have set that greeting is of type string. String here in programming world means characters, so text, a string of characters. The literal form is this. So this is a string literal. We'll get to that later on, what literal is. But what it means is we're storing the value hello world in the variable greeting. So this points to this. So if we say, hey console, I want you to log this, so to display this variable that's called greeting, it's going to go, hey, nice. Thank you for giving me the variable greeting. I'm going to check what it refers to and print that in the console. So what we're going to do right now is open up the console. I just got to check real quick where it is. It's here. So if it's not there, check it. It's there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to type tsc index.ts. So TypeScript compile index.ts. And this is going to do something very nice. It made a JavaScript file. And now you're like, huh? John, what are we doing here? We're writing TypeScript. Yes, but TypeScript is not what runs in the browser. JavaScript is actually what runs. So what happens when you run this command is it actually takes your beautiful TypeScript code with all those beautiful types and it turns it into JavaScript code that the browser or any other environment actually understands. So you don't have to do anything for this, see? And they use var in JavaScript and they don't know if it's a string. We know it's a string because we said it's a string, but it could be anything. It could be a number. It could be whatever you want it to be, but we don't know. We can just do whatever because this is the world of JavaScript, the world that we are not going to dive into because it's dangerous without all those types. Beautiful types, we need them. So when we have done this, we know that, okay, we've done this, we've gone to JavaScript. And now if we type Node index.js, so for Node, we need to run JavaScript files, it prints hello world. Now, isn't that beautiful? We have written our first program, but note that pun intended, but note that it doesn't run the TypeScript file. The TypeScript file is used to make JavaScript files, and the JavaScript files are actually executed by Node. And in this case, it is executed to print to a console or log to a console the string hello world. So that's what we've done. So to recap what we have done in this whole episode is we have set up Node.js, we have installed TypeScript, set up Visual Studio Code, and wrote our first TypeScript program. We are all set to start learning TypeScript, and in the next video, we'll dive into variables and data types, the core concepts that will help us create powerful programs. So variables and data types are greeting, string, greeting being the variable, string being the data type. So that is it. Thanks for following along today. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to get notified about new episodes. And I'll see you in the next one, where we will start diving into TypeScript essentials. Happy coding.